Just sending out a tweet. Tweet should be already sent again. Again, where we left off was pretty much this scene where hopefully this guy's gonna get his ass handed to him by our protagonist, who came down into this, like, alleyway under the school building or something with, like, bikes and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if this is supposed to be at the school or somewhere nearby, like a parking garage or something nearby. But, this delinquent is harassing, or getting the girl from his school to suck his toe. His toe, yes. Which is weird in and of itself. Anyways, hopefully our protagonist is going to beat the crap out of him. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't see any way this guy's going to be someone that we're going to be, like, rooting for later on. I don't think so. But let's get in there. I'm just going to turn on my own stream so that I have it running in the background. I don't think my internet's going to cooperate with me tonight, because it doesn't seem to be going. You recording, internet? There it is. Okay. So yeah, hopefully our main character, I think his name is Suzumu, hopefully he's gonna kick his ass. Basically, he's harassing this girl. I think her last name is Toe, which is probably why he's harassing her this way. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder what's gonna happen. The delinquents consider this place their stronghold, their sanctuary. They hate it when outsiders step onto their turf. So they frowned, rose to their feet, and glared at Suzumu.
Kurokami-san, 嫌なことなら嫌だってちゃんと言わなきゃ。
If you don't want to do this, Kurokami-san, just say so.
それが言いづらいようなら、僕が先生に相談するよ。
If you're not in a position to say so yourself, I'll tell the teachers for you.
ああ？ちくりかよ。上等じゃねえかこれ。
The hell? So you're a snitch. You got some serious balls on you right there.
Oh my. チクった後どうなるか分かってんのか?
You got any idea what we'll do to you after you rat us out? Don't really care.
おとなしくチャリに空気入れて帰れや、ボケ。
Just pump your tires and beat it, you dumbass. Suzumu had brought a tire pump he borrowed from the superintendent's office. He'd come because his tires were low on air. Come to think of it, Kiko did tell me she wouldn't recommend coming here during lunch, didn't she? Now I see why. She was implying this place was a den of delinquents. Suzumu was tense in his own right, but it didn't look that way. And that pissed off the delinquents.
よ、なんか勘違いしてるみてえだけどさ。
See here, buddy, you got it all wrong.
トエはさ、俺にいじめられて、いやいややってるわけじゃねえわけ。
Toe here ain't doing this all cause I'm forcing her to or some shit. She wants to do it.
なあ、トエ。
Ain't that right, Toe? Doesn't look like she's consenting. Toei staggered to her feet and stared blankly at Suzumu. She wraps her arms around Sho and clings to him with all she had. But her expression remained the same, even then.
こいつはさ、俺の女なわけ。
This chick's my girl, you see.
自分の女に乱暴をするなんて思えないよ。
That doesn't seem like the kind of person you should be kicking, then.
気を許し合ってるからこそってわけよ。お前何様？
I just got a little carried away. Who the hell do you think I am?
俺とトエがどういう関係か何も知らないなら、引っ込んでろよな。
You don't know what's going on between the two of us, so F off.
女の子を蹴り飛ばしてもいい関係なんて、僕には思いつかないよ。
I can't imagine anything that could be going on between you two that would make this okay.
おう、あんまふかしてっと死なすぞこら。
Ugh, enough with your bullshit, or your ass is dead. One of the delinquents stepped forward and grabbed Suzumu by the collar. But Suzumu simply grabbed his arm, unfazed.
Ah?
The F... blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I did the sound. Ah.
おい、大丈夫かよ
Hey, you okay? Whoops. Oh, he's strong as hell. Yeah. It was at this point the delinquents noticed Suzumu's unassumingly rugged fist. The lack of fear he showed when facing their numbers made it easy to imagine he was a trained martial artist. They glared furiously at Suzumu, but didn't try to grab him again. Just then the bell rang, signaling the end of the lunch break.
A 組の鈴原とか言ったが、てめえのことは覚えておくからな。
Suzuhara from Class A, right? Don't think I'll forget you anytime soon.
さっきの乱暴を黒髪さんに謝らない限り。
Until you apologize to Kurakama Toei for what you did. I won't forget you either. Sorry, I skipped the line.
はあ？なめてんのかてめえ、この場で死ぬか？ああ？
You making fun of me? You wanna effing die right here? Huh? I hadn't imagined Suzumu would actually talk back. Surging with white-hot rage, Sho pulled a metal bat out of a nearby bike stand. Or umbrella stand. The fuck are you doing? Oh! Suzumu finally looked surprised when he realized that shout had come from Super Kiko of all people.
バキコかよ。てめえの出る幕じゃねえだろ。
Bakiko, huh? This ain't your fight.
スズムは私のダチなわけ。
Suzumu's one of mine.
血祭りにされてえかこら。捨て頃もできねえ玉なし野郎が。
You want to get slaughtered? You can't even fight fair. Why don't you grow up here?
潰すわクソアマ。この場でぶっ殺されるかこら。
You effing witch. You're gonna die. I'm gonna effing kill you.
翔ちゃん、まずいって。落ち着けって。
Sho, don't do it. Calm down.
面倒を起こしたら先輩に何て言われるか。
What'll the upperclassmen say if we cause a scene? Ugh.
命拾いしたな、鈴原。てめえ、マジで覚えてろよ。
I'll let you live this time, Suzuhara. But this ain't over.
約束するよ。
Don't think this is over. I won't. You can count on that.
血祭りにされてえかこら。捨て頃もできねえ玉なし野郎が。
潰すわクソ。
翔ちゃん、まずいって。落ち着け。
面倒を起こしたら先輩に何て言われるか。
Alright. Sho left in a huff as the other delinquents tried to calm him down. Toei staggered on after them.
黒髪さん。
Kurakami. But before Suzumu could ask if she was okay, Toei pushed him away. For the first time, the two looked at each other in the eye. Though Toei's face was blank, her eyes were filled, brimming with emotion, with tears and rejection. Why? Late. Huh? Her tears streaked downward and fell to the ground. Toei pushed Suzumu away again and left. Suzumu Suzuhara watched her leave as he reflected on her parting words. Why? You're too late. She said that, he knew.
さすがグレートな男だぜ、セスハラ
The great Suzuhara strikes again!
あれだけの人数相手にビビりもしねえなんてな。さすがは俺が認めたグレートセスハラだぜ。
All those punks stared you down, and you didn't even flinch. You truly are a great man.
あつたくん、一緒に来たのに隠れてたでしょ。情けないな。
And you're a wimp at Suda. You hit the whole time.
そんなのじゃ彼女できた時愛想をつかされちゃうよ。
If I were your girlfriend, I'd dump you on the spot.
俺はまだ修行中の身だからな。女なんてまだまだ早えぜ。
Well, I'm still training. I'm not really ready for a girlfriend.
ありがとうキコちゃん。助けてくれて。
Thanks, Kiko. You saved me.
ああいうバカを挑発するのはノンノンだよ。
Just don't go picking a fight with those idiots again, okay?
だから私昼休みに駐輪場はやめた方がいいよって言ったのに。
This is why I warned you not to go to the bike rack during lunch.
ごめんね。昼休みがもったいないからって意味だと思ってたよ。
Sorry, I just thought you meant it'd be a waste of my time.
それにしてもキコちゃんもかっこよかったよ。
But Kiko, you were really cool back there.
そうそう、グレイトな単価だったぜ。そうか、スサラは知らねえのか。
Seriously, those were some great fighting words. Oh, so Suzumu, you don't know, do you?
何しろ春宮は中学の頃は。
You see, back in high school, or middle school, Harumiya...
昼休みは終わったよ。早く戻ってレッツ5次元目をスタディしないとね。
Okay, lunch is over. We need to hurry back for 5th period and study.
ナツくんどうしたの？
What's wrong,
具合
Natsu?
悪いの？
You feel sick?
さあねえ、つわりじゃないの。私が肩を貸すから、スズムは早く教室に行って。
Who knows? Maybe it's morning sickness. I'll give him a hand, so hurry on back to class, Suzumu. It appeared as though she was giving him more of a headlock than a hand, though. Okay. So we don't really know what her relationship with Sho is, but it's obviously not healthy. She says he was too late to save her. You know, this does kind of imply maybe they knew each other before or something. By the time class resumed, Kurokami was back in her seat, holding her doll and staring off into space. And they did imply she was a delinquent or something back in the day.
何しろ春宮は中学の頃は。
Why? You're too late. The way she was in class, I couldn't imagine her speaking her mind as clearly as that. I thought I knew what I'd heard, but I was starting to wonder if it was my mind playing tricks on me. Kurokami. What did she mean by too late? I used to be so indifferent, but I found that I couldn't get my mind off her for some reason. Too late, as in, past the point of no return. But what? What didn't I make it in time for? Black snow started gently falling around us. No, not snow, soot. Jet black soot piled up, burying me and Kurokami's world in darkness. The final class of the day ended, and my classmates filed out of the room one after another. But instead, I walked over to Kurokami.
何か力になれることがあったら言ってね。
Listen, if there's anything I can help with, just let me know, okay?
何も
There's nothing you can help me with.
お前は
You're far
遅すぎる。
too late. Kurokami said nothing. The silence was a clear affirmation that by too late, she was indeed referring to me.
わからないよ。僕の何が遅すぎたの？
But I don't get it. What am I too late for?
僕は非力かもしれないけれど、
Perhaps there's not much I can do.
黒髪さんが苦しんでいるなら、それを救うことができるかもしれない。
But if you are suffering, maybe I can save you from it. She gonna chuckle? Her eyes glazed over. Nothing I said was getting through to her. There was nothing more I could say to keep her there.
なんでもあの二人いいなずけ同士らしいぜ。
It seems like the two of them are actually engaged, believe it or not.
いいなずけ？黒髪さんとあいつが？
Engaged? You mean Kurokami and that loser guy?
亀沼のやつがすすだに引っ越してきたのは中1の時らしいんだけど。
Though Sho Kamenuma only moved here back in 7th grade.
あんなクズのどこがお眼鏡にかなったやら。
I don't know what she sees in that scumbag.
中学では有名だったぜ。いい名付けがいるやつがいるらしいってな。
It seems he was famous back in middle school for having a fiancé at that age.
どうしてそんなことに。
How did that arranged marriage happen? Sho had moved to Susuda only 4 years ago. On the other hand, the Kurakamis were a family who owned a lot of land in this region for generations. What could the two families possibly have in common? In contrast to the wealthy and famous Kurakamis and the Kamenumas barely had a penny to their name, to say nothing of land. But by the autumn, Sho Kamenuma was already engaged to To.
何しろ多感なお年頃だからよ。学校中で話題になったぜ。
It's not every day you hear about people getting engaged that early. It was a hot topic back in school.
あいつも最初はさぞや浮かれただろうね。
I'm sure he was positively thrilled at first.
でもすぐに黒髪さんがちょっと何のある子だと分かったみたいで。
But I don't think it took him long to figure out just what kind of girl Kurakami is.
どうしてあいつは亀沼くんは言い名付けを引き受けたんだろう。
Why did Kamenuma accept the proposal?
噂が本当なら黒髪さんの一目惚れなんだって。
Kurakami fell for him at first sight, from what I hear.
一目惚れ。
First sight?
どうしても婿養子になってほしいって黒髪家が拝み倒したんだってさ。
They say the Kurakami family begged him to marry their daughter.
その際にとんでもない金を積んだって噂だぜ。
Word is a big sum of money is involved.
それで亀沼のやつグレートに羽振りがいいらしいぜ。
It seems like that's how Kamenuma got so influential. Toei Kurakami. She wasn't ordinary, that much was certain. It wasn't absurd to imagine her family going to great lengths to get her a husband. Still, though, that didn't explain why they'd chosen a boy like that, of all people. If they'd loved one another, there'd be no issue. But it hadn't looked that way to Suzumu at all. At the very least, Kamenuma treated her more like a pet than anything else. And it hadn't felt like Toei held any love for him either. Too late. Because Suzumu had been too late, she'd been forced to accept this fate. It almost looked as though she'd resigned herself to that outcome, and suppressed her emotions, and swearing allegiance to Kamenuma as a result.
じゃあな、また明日な。
See you tomorrow. Natsuya waved goodbye to his friends in front of a deli in the shopping district. The shop's name was Atsuda's Piping Hot Deli. His family ran the place. Suzumu and Tsubakiko waved back as they left. Matashita.
鈴しつこいと思うかもしれないけど
Suzumu, you probably think I'm being stubborn, but
黒髪さんに近づくのは良くないと思うよ。
I really don't think you should get involved with Kurakami.
どうして。
But why?
うまく言えないけどその
I'm not sure how to put this, but...
そうかもしれ。
Oh.
良くない感じがするの。
I get a bad feeling about it.
うまく言えないけど
少なくとも彼女は
Maybe you're right.
遅すぎたにせよ。
She says it's too late after all.
救いの手を求めていたのだけは間違いないと思う。
But she is looking for somebody to save her. I'm sure of that, if nothing else.
進む
それが良くない感じの雰囲気になって感じられるんだと思うよ。
And I think you can tell that's dangerous ground to be treading.
進む
キコちゃん。
私もう一度警告するからね。
I'll warn you one more time.
進むは黒髪さんに近づかない方がいい。
Suzumu, you shouldn't get involved with Kurakami.
絶対に何か恐ろしいことが起こるから。
For sure, something terrible will happen. I just know it.
どうして
But how?
そんなことがわかる。
私の第六感
My
すっごく当たるんだよ。
sixth sense is always on point.
ありがと 用心するよ。
Thanks. I'll try to be careful.
用心しながら近づくよって意味でしょ。もう知らない。
You mean you'll tread carefully, don't you? Fine, forget it. Subakiko stuck her tongue out and slammed the door to her apartment. I walked in my own apartment and closed the door. Entering my own space, isolating myself from the outside world, filled me with a strange sense of lethargy. Sure, it was a relief to be home, but I had the strange feeling that my door was like a portal to another world. Though it was warm enough to make me sweat a little out there, it was cool in my room. Almost like the place was too big for me alone. I didn't know why, but I felt like I'd been here on my own for so long.
汗をかいたね。シャワーを浴びよう。
It's gotta be the sweat talking. I'll go take a shower. When I was alone, I tended to talk to myself, to ward off the stillness of it all. Perhaps it was a bad habit. I hung my school uniform up and entered the bathroom with a fresh pair of underwear in my hand. The bathroom was humid when I went in, almost as though someone had only finished bathing there. I picked up the scent of bath water. Had somebody been using my bath? Someone's scent was lingering amidst the heat. As it dawned upon me that I didn't recognize whose it was, I felt a tinge of unease. I slowly and gently pushed open the door to the bathroom. I slowly yet gently pushed open the door to the bathroom. And when I did, heat rushed out along with a sickening body odor. Uh-oh. In the bath was meat. No, it was probably a person. Something slovenly and obese, bringing to mind a distended stomach bulging with fat and grease. This is somebody's face. Sorry. Curly black hair peeked out between its swollen folds, filling me with disgust and revulsion. Blemishes and shaggy moles. Crimson scars from scratching sweaty itches too hard. Skin as hard as scabs outside the joints. Bruised blood vessels that wriggled like worms. And an acrid stench like sweat and candle wax. It spread with the heat and clung to my nostrils. A blob of meat, like an especially disgusting middle-aged man, was sitting right there. All of a sudden it squelched and twisted. I couldn't tell what was its front and what was its back, but it was clear it had noticed me and was turning to face me. What he said. Its voice sounded like a man's, put through a filter to protect its identity, like you'd hear on the news. I was sure its words meant something, but I couldn't understand it at all. All I could make out for sure was a spine-tingling laugh. It was a girl with, past the blob I could see a bundle of black hair. It was a girl with long black hair and snow-white skin. No, a doll the size of a human. Its joints clearly indicated that it was what they called a ball-jointed doll. The blob held that doll as it turned around. When I saw the doll's face, I couldn't help but gasp. It was Kurakami's face. It wasn't the face of a doll modeled after Kurakami. Everything from the head down was a doll, but the head itself wasn't. It was her face. Her head. One of Kurakami's joints screamed with a sickening crack. I couldn't tell what the blob was saying, but it was obvious it had returned its attention to Kurakami. The blob fiercely embraced the doll attached to Kurakami's head and greedily sucked on it. The ball joints creaked with pain and moaned in the exact same rhythm. Kurakami broke into a cold sweat and gritted her teeth. She was clearly in agony. Yet, oddly enough, my heart felt relief in the face of that repulsive terror. This disgusting relief that the blob wouldn't do anything to me while it was busy with Kurakami. Occasionally, there'd be a crack and one of the ball joints would bend in an anatomically impossible direction. Even Kurakami couldn't help but moan in agony. I couldn't even begin to imagine what harrowing pain she must have been in. I didn't know how long Kurakami would hold the blob's interest, but eventually it would get bored, and when it did, I'd be next. A part of me wanted to save Kurakami, to fight to save her. However, the grotesque blob before me and my fear were both so overwhelming, I didn't know what I could do against this blob. But I couldn't just ignore Kurakami's suffering. If I couldn't work up the courage now, I never would.
黒髪さんを離せ
Leave Kurakami alone. All of a sudden, the blob stopped. And then, slowly, but surely, turned back to face me. Fear and regret seized me from head to toe. No, to toe. There really was a fine line between courage and reckless naivety, wasn't there? The ability to feel calm and safe when faced with such terror was truly a luxury. The blob was surely laughing at me. It then stopped toying with Kurakami and tossed her in the hot water of the tub. Kurakami's body sank into the bath with a splash and vanished. What rose out of the water next wasn't Kurakami. It was a doll, one I recognized. The Japanese doll Kurakami always carried was floating there in the tub. The blob didn't seem pleased by this. It groaned with discontent as it scooped up the doll and turned it around and around, studying it from every angle. That was probably my one and only chance. With the blob's attention off me, this was my first and last opportunity to escape. But my legs, they wouldn't move. My legs crumpled beneath me as though I were a marionette. Of course, the blob was only playing with dolls. So even I was its doll, too. Without even realizing it, my body from my neck down had turned into a ball-jointed doll, just like Kurakami. The blob lurched menacingly towards me. It then lifted me up, placed me between its folds, and smothered me against it. The feeling of its curly hairs against me, its revolting odor and heat, and its sewer-like breath filled my throat with bile. The blob touched my ball joints and lovingly twisted them. From time to time, I felt them bend in ways they shouldn't, with a crack. Though barely conscious, I could feel my joints bend and break in various directions, one after another. Finally, all my joints broke, leaving me nothing more than a head. The blob embraced my head and licked it with the gooey substance oozing out of its rotten breath. The stench was beyond repulsive. I felt like I was going to suffocate from all the nausea. Soon enough, the blob engulfed my head. And then I woke up. I slowly sat up out of my dimly lit room. It was the bathroom he was in. It was dark around me. Apparently it was nighttime. How long had I been there? I felt like I'd been in the throes of a bad dream. I exhaled heavily as if to drive out something disgusting that had built up in my lungs. I could tell I had an awful nightmare, but I couldn't remember anything specific about the nightmare. That's just how it is. Nightmares are vivid when you have them, but they vanish with a trace once you wake up.
僕はどうしてこんなところに
Why was I sleeping here? Maybe I'd been anemic and passed out. I had no clue. The clearer my head got, the more I realized worrying about it wouldn't accomplish a thing. I shook my head and opened the door to the bathtub to start a bath. Traces of warmth lingered still, but there was no way anyone was there.
痛い
My elbows and knees had been hurting ever since I woke up. I checked my elbows in the mirror to find them a little red and swollen. He must have slept on them hard. Alright, we're probably gonna stop here. Well, that night I had the strangest dream. It was of Kurakami, sitting alone in a world of falling black snow. The black snow landed on the shoulders of her white robe, staining her a monochrome gradation. She looked lonely, so I tried approaching her, but no matter how much I walked, she didn't get any closer to me. A firm and cool, transparent wall was separating us. At the very least, I wanted to tell her she wasn't alone. I kept pounding on the wall, shouting at the top of my lungs, but she didn't hear me at all. Kurakami! Upon closer inspection, I realized tears were streaming down her face. The black snow sullied her tear-stained cheeks, making it as though she were crying lines of black. She was facing my direction, but it didn't seem like she could see me. Perhaps the wall was only transparent on my side. If that were true, then she was all by herself within the wall, the black snow burying her whole. My heart ached at the sight of her tears. Was it pity? Sympathy? No. It was a sense of duty. No question about it. A baseless sense of responsibility, telling me I had to save her. If I didn't, she'd be left alone in this world, doomed to be buried by black snow and fade under it. All the while shedding tears, stained black by the soot. Gotta save her from the dream. Even after I woke up, I stared blankly at the ceiling for a while. This was the first time I'd ever remembered a dream so clearly. Why can't I get Kurakami out of my mind? I couldn't understand my own feelings. I wondered if maybe I was in love with Kurakami, but that definitely wasn't the case. I just met her. I was an adolescent boy just like the rest. I knew the bittersweet taste of unrequited love. True, the fact that I couldn't get her out of my head was similar to that. But this was different. I just knew I had to help her. And there was no time left. Not even a second. As she said, it was too late. Even so, I had to help her. Why, though? I didn't know. But that emotion was filling my heart. And telling me I had to act as soon as possible. Sorry about my mouse, it just kind of keeps, like, poking its head out. Let's save. And quit for now. We'll pick this up next time. We'll hopefully make more progress towards getting to know some of the characters. Maybe there's choices? I don't know if there's choices in this game. I think there are, but I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if there's going to be, like, romance routes, like a Subakiko route and a Toei route. Like, I don't know if there's going to be different routes or anything. So, next time, we'll pick this up. See ya.